Hello everyone, my name is Lowko, and welcome back to a professional match of StarCraft 2. Today it's time for a best-of-3 series of Terran vs Zerg, where in game number 1 we find ourselves on... This is one of the new maps. It's called Moon Dance, I think. I'm not gonna redo this intro, so I hope I'm correct. You can play StarCraft 2 trivia with me, I suppose. I'm pretty sure that this map is called Moon Dance. Anyhow, in the bottom right-hand corner with the blue Zerg drones, we have none other than SoO. And his opponent in the opposite corner with the red Terran pieces, we are looking at ByuN's main command center. I nailed it! Ma! Ma, get the camera! I did something right for what? I did it right, yeah! Okay, no, generally speaking, I'm not very good at map names. It's gonna take me a little while, but you know what? We better get used to these maps because, well, let's be honest, with the way that Blizzard has been treating SC2 over the last couple of years, there's a very good chance that these maps are gonna be around for probably... I wouldn't be surprised if they're gonna be around for about a year or so. Yeah. I'm secretly hoping we're gonna get new map pools every half year. That would be pretty sick. But I wouldn't be surprised if in a year from now we're still casting games on Moon Dance. Luckily for us, the games that I've seen on the new map so far, they are all very solid. The maps definitely seem to be very good. Speaking of new maps, by the way, I've been casting quite a few ByuN games. So in case you're wondering if there's other Terran players out there too, there definitely are quite a few Terrans out there that are very good at the game. The thing is, many of them don't play in those weekly tournaments that ByuN, for example, does. So ByuN plays in practically every single smaller online cup that you can play in, which is amazing. But I'd love to cast some Maru, I'd love to cast some Cure, Bunny, you know, like all of those top-level Koreans. I'd like to, yeah, frequently cast their games on the YouTube channel as well, but if there's no games for me to go ahead and cast, if I want to feature a Terran player, ByuN is my go-to option. And to be honest, I mean, I'm mostly saying this for the people that are wondering. I am not getting tired of watching ByuN play. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the way that he approaches the game, a very micro-heavy style, and while sometimes in Terran vs Zerg, his playstyle can be a little bit frustrating to watch because he refuses to go into the late-game units. Sometimes he just, you know, sits around on Marines and Medivacs for a little bit too long. I don't think he really needs to worry about that in this series, to be honest. SoO, ever since he came back from the military, he's been playing some very aggressive styles, and historically, he's never really been a late-game Zerg. He's always been the type of guy who's more than happy playing an aggressive early game and mid game and to just avoid the late game altogether. Even in, like, you know, the Brute Lord Infestor eras and just the very laid-back Zerg styles that we've seen over the years. Yeah, SoO never really played that way. Alright, nice catch right there. He's decided to go for a very fast lair, so... hello. He's decided to go for a very fast lair, and this is not something that ByuN actually saw. Denying that little scout over there is huge. One of the reasons why that happened is because of that creep tumor. So we'll see what SoO has got in store for us over here in game number 1. He's faking a third hatchery too, right? So Moon Dance, it's got a base over here in the back. Well, he is getting it right now. But with a conventional Zerg versus Terran opener, Zergs rather, Zergs, they definitely do take this base a little bit quicker. ByuN may very well be picking up on this though, because the thing is, Zergs usually don't expand backwards like this. Like, they're more than happy to just spread a little bit of creep and take one of the more forward bases. If I was ByuN here, I'd be a little bit concerned for, say, for example, like a, I don't know, like a Nidus Worm push. Since this base only has one gas geyser, you can't really go for something super gas heavy, so Mutas would maybe be a little bit less likely, but that seems to be the option that SoO is opting for right here. Yeah, going for a pretty quick spire. I mean, we're only 4 minutes into this game. He's going to be able to get Mutas out by about 6. Is this something that Mr. ByuN is going to be able to pick up on? So he does have a Banshee over here. Okay, cloaking at this point is done. There's no detection available as far as a Spore Crawler goes. Yeah, he starts one up right now, but that's a little bit late, honestly. Usually Spores in this matchup, they start at 4:30 for a very good reason. If you start it up at 5 minutes, you're making mistakes. So a little bit of a slip up right here from Mr. SoO. Obviously, he did make an Overseer, so at the very least, he's going to be able to push this away for the time being. But 3 kills is more than he should have had. At the same moment, here come the YOLO Hellions again. This is a move that ByuN has been very fond of over the last few weeks. In a way, though, diving that deep into the Zerg bases, it does allow you some nice scouting information. So at the very least, ByuN now knows that it is going to be a Spire. It's some very aggressive scouting. It's like trying to check if there's a glass door by, you know, ramming your head into it. trying to see if you can go through. Yep, nope, there was glass right over there. So at the very least, ByuN knows what he's going up against by spotting the spire that was building. Is there dead space over here? I was gonna say, I don't think there's dead space over there. I don't think it really matters anyways, because the mutas at this point are out, and so is gonna get full map control. So what exactly is he gonna do with the map control? Alright, this is apparently the moment at which he finally goes for a Baneling Nest as well as +1/+1 upgrades. Evo Chambers will first need to finish, and obviously the Baneling Speed is a super important upgrade. So for the time being, I honestly, like, I'm not a fan of this very fast Muta opener, and I've said this time and time again. so is one of the very few Zerg players at this level that regularly plays this style. But, like, you put so much effort into trying to get Mutas out, and Terran's like, okay, I scouted it. I have a group of Marines, which will just push them back easy peasy anyways, and now that I know that they're coming, I can protect my mineral lines quite easily, too. What so does, though, with his Mutas is a little bit different than what most of the high-level Zergs do. He's more than happy to just sort of sit here. So usually Mutas are played as an harassment tool, not really as like a fighting tool, but so he frequently goes up to like 20 plus Mutas and he actually uses them in the main engagements. It's not that it can't work, it can definitely work quite well, it's just that it's kind of risky. Because, well, Terran has like 7 sources of splash damage that can accidentally kill those Mutas. Things like Thors, but also, ooh, we're even transfusing the Mutas. Things like Thors come to mind, but also, of course, Widow Mines, and, well, just a group of Marines. It's very easy to accidentally lose those units, so let's see if there's even enough right here for the Zerg player. Like, I don't really like this fight whatsoever. I mean, he's getting the full wraparound, so he's gonna be able to clean it up. That fight, right? That fight, in my mind, after watching so much StarCraft 2, considering there were no Banelings, no Baneling Speed, no 1/1 upgrades, that fight shouldn't have gone as well as it did, at least in my mind, for the Zerg player, but I guess he just has sheer numbers. Even ByuN right there was like, okay, I guess I'll siege up right at the bottom of your ramp, see what you do about it. So he's like, nah, I'll just transfuse some things and get the queens into the battle and jump in with the Zerglings. Yeah. It reminds me of the olden days. Maybe more specifically the StarCraft 1 days, where players would make, you know, they would like put an overlord in the same control group as the Mutalisks and start roaming the map so they could actually micro them a little bit more easily. Anyhow, let's see how this plays out. ByuN, in the meantime, of course, did go for the fast base in the top left-hand corner. Now he's got a 4th command center building at the 8-minute mark, which is nothing out of the ordinary, but losing that group of units, it definitely does put him up with his back against the wall. Obviously, he can go for some medevac drops if he really wants to, which is usually what ByuN does. He's very happy to send these medevacs with like 8 Marines each, 1 through the bottom section, 1 through the top section of the map, and yeah, just harass wherever he can. But if you know that there's a pretty healthy amount of Mutalisks out, that can sometimes be a bit of a disaster, because, well, losing like 10 supply worth of units for free is obviously not a great idea. So now ByuN is forced into a position that he normally doesn't play. He is the one who's forced to play a passive game, and who's gonna, yeah, just be forced to sit back. We'll see how that plays out. Good pickup right there, keeping these units alive. so Are you really? I was wondering about that. Because you were moving those Banelings so far forward. What exactly was the point in that? What was the point? We just wasted, what, a dozen Banelings on a few supply depots? ByuN does not care, mate. Like, I get that that was a supply depot with, you know, one of those orbital command heads, which will grant more supply, so I guess ByuN hits the supply block, but he also immediately had more supply depots building. Alright. That was ByuN just trying to play an intimidation game, I suppose. Like, back off! I am the lord of this map. Don't you even think about moving out? I mean, to be fair, it is working out for now. ByuN is definitely not thinking about sending out more medevac drops or, you know, going for a big push. This guy is a maniac. He can do whatever he likes. Yeah, it's kind of interesting how, like, cost-efficient traits are sometimes not necessarily the goal. Like, intimidation is not something that we can easily track in a game of StarCraft 2. But if you're ByuN right now, you're probably scratching your head as well. Like, first off, your opponent is cleaning up your fights with mostly Mutas and Zerglings, and now he's fighting with Banelings off creep. He's just blowing up random supply depots. He's going into a planetary fortress without a gajillion Banelings, which is what we see. Apparently, these Banes are still going to turn around. Mutas are going to start working on whatever they can as well. Well, I guess the Mutas can finish off the planetary if there's still a little bit of HP remaining. That was, once again, a very expensive set of units right there for the Zerg player to lose. But obviously, in the meantime, so he's happily mining off of 5 bases. So ByuN, I guess you're forced into an all-in. Obviously, you can reposition your orbital command if you need to, but I think it's about time you tried to capitalize on the fact that, well, the Zerg just threw away a load of resources. But if you don't do it fast enough, that income advantage is definitely going to go in favor of the Zerg as far as the army goes as well. So, yeah, if you look at the progression over the last 10 minutes, you can see that soO is definitely getting himself a really nice lead as far as the income goes. Creep spread also looking really solid, by the way. Ah, soO is playing some beautiful StarCraft here. This is one of these, I have 600 APM type of, you know, strategies. It's one of these, just don't clump up your units. Just keep spreading creep, just keep macroing, just don't miss queen injects type of styles. All significantly easier said than done. But this is the old school way of playing it. For the longest time, while soO was doing his mandatory military service anyways, we saw that Hydra Lurker style. soO has kind of missed that era of SC2, but turns out the previous style that we saw before that is still very viable, which is, yeah, pretty cool. Did I just say viable? Nice. This is one of my pet peeves, okay? Ever since I found out that in English, I know, this is crazy. In Dutch, we also do use V's and F's, but they're all pronounced as F's. So we don't, generally speaking, have a pronunciation difference between the V and the F. So if you go back to my older videos, I would not say videos, I would say videos. Anyways, it took me a long time to get the hang of that, and now whenever I catch myself, you know, using the V rather than an F or the other way around, it's kind of annoying. I still slip up with that all the time, by the way. My English is nowhere close to perfect, but I'm trying. Anyhow, if you notice any obvious pronunciation issues, let me know down below in the comment section of this video. As soO, what's, like, why take this fight over here? Like, what's the point? Terran was the one being aggressive, so why not fight on creep? These are the types of moves that, if you're a Zerg player, I don't recommend you make. But soO, somehow, some way, consistently seems to be able to pull it off. For what it's worth, by the way, people told me, back when I first started playing SC2, back in 2010, that the StarCraft 1 professionals would generally retire at like age 25, 26, 27 or so, because they physically became too slow to play the game. Right? So people would literally tell me, no, when you're like 25, that's, you know, boomer age for StarCraft 2. That is when you're basically an SC2 senior. And I kind of like it that these guys that are, you know, getting into their 30s right now. There's a bunch of pro gamers that are in their early 30s at this point. I don't know exactly how old soO is. Hold up, let me look it up. But they're showing us that, no, that's not the case. Like, that is a playstyle that we just saw from Mr. soO, where you need to be fast, you need to be quick, and you need to try your very best. soO at this point is 29 years old. AKA, oh, he's born in 1992. The best year. Let's be honest, 1992 is definitely the best year to be born if you're, you know, any other year. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. Anyways, yeah, he's turning 30 in September, apparently. Anyways, I still sometimes catch myself with that mindset where I'm like, well, you know what, Lowko? The reason why you're losing in SC2 is because you're getting too old. Even though I feel significantly better than I did when I was like in my early 20s and, you know, my late 20s. So, I don't know about that. Anyhow, spawning pool first this time around here from Mr. soO, and we're gonna have some Zerglings. Okay. Okay, I was gonna say, like, I've seen this opener quite a lot from soO recently. I've been studying a bunch of his games. This is the 5 Roach opener, if I'm not mistaken, where you morph in 1 Ravager and then you go for Zergling speed after that. Since ByuN is not too fond of going for, SCV scouts in the early game, this is definitely something that can work out. He decided to go for a blind reactor. So he's gonna have Marines out to be able to push back the initial group of Zerglings. At least he should. But at that point, ByuN doesn't really know exactly what the follow-up is. It's just that I've seen soO do this build quite a few times recently in tournaments. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's done it several times against ByuN as well. So, yeah. If ByuN sees the scouting Zerglings right over here, or I guess these 16 pool links, like he knows the timing at this point, he may very well be able to pick up on the fact as well that there's a good chance that this is going to be a Roach follow-up. So, 4 Roaches are already coming. I'm assuming it's going to be a 5th Roach. Yes, as soon as the larva is available. And now I think we'll see him going back to droning. You can make a 6-1 too if you really want to. Okay. Micro Jackson. Moonwalking the Marines back. Hee hee. Ow! Okay, sorry. Whoa. Poor Ling. Decent exchange right there. This is an interesting trade though, because normally, like, if you don't already know exactly what is going on, I think that this would be a pretty clear giveaway as well, that there would be a roach push coming, because normally Zergs don't really want to throw away those links, because if you throw away the links, you have to make, well, something new for the base defense, and if you're making more Zerglings, it means you're not making drones, right? Which is the ultimate goal for Zergs in the early game. So if I was ByuN, I would definitely be putting down a bunker. We may very well have got ourselves a quick 2-0 here, though. Yeah. No, dude. This is a misread here from ByuN. I think all of the little tells here that soO's have been throwing at him, it's... Even though there was a lack of a scout, it's an indicator that there could very well be a roach push as a follow-up. So let's see how much damage this can truly do. It's just going to be Marines and Hellions and SCVs for the time being. Ravager over there trying to corrosive bile whatever it can. Trying to throw the corrosive bile wherever it can. And honestly, if you kill more than 5 SCVs, I think this is a very good spot for the Zerg player. Especially if you keep the Ravager alive, that would be nice. Yeah. So this is a fantastic start right here for the Zerg. He decides to go very deep to just finish off whatever he can. Maybe we can get one more kill. Oh, that mule is running dangerously low. Yeah, one more. Okay. 10 SCVs in total. Obviously, that was not a cheap set of units there from the Zerg either, but you don't have to be a StarCraft expert to realize that this is now a significant advantage right here for soO. He did forget about his Zergling speed for a little while because he was probably busy microing on the other side of the map. Usually it's worth hotkeying the spawning pool just so you can start it up mid-combat so you don't have to look back home, but anyways. Even though he does obviously sacrifice some time in order to go for that push, third hatchery is still going to come up at a pretty respectable moment. Now we do need to see the spore crawlers at the correct time this time around. Once again, it's going to be Banshees with Cloak. .430 is normally what we see it in a regular macro game. Now in this particular case, soO has also seen the Viking. So he should know that the Banshee is going to be a little bit delayed, but he really needs to start up some spores. Like right about right now would be a good time. Maybe he can delay it a little bit more, but I hope he's not forgetting about it, because that could backfire very, very quickly. ByuN on the back foot at this point, but he can still definitely come out swinging. Are we going to opt for a third CC? I think we are. We should anyways. Okay, Viking in the main base trying to be a nuisance. Banshee at this point spotted as well. There's the third command center coming up, and now the spores come up. So, interestingly enough, soO is playing a very dangerous game. Apparently more than happy with the army that he's got right now to just defend. He's once more, by the way, made a pretty significant clump right here of roaches and Zerglings. He's got a whole lot of roaches, actually. I didn't realize that he was going to go for a follow-up push. So this is 20 Zerglings and about 10 roaches Ravagers. Okay. Banshee in the meantime trying to get some kills in. 3 of those workers going down so far. Siege tank on the high ground though, and I love this position right here on Data C. ByuN is going to be able to start hitting pretty much the entire Zerg force from, well, quite a distance. As long as he holds the wall for as long as he can, I think he's going to be okay. A little bit of friendly fire will definitely clear out some of the Marines and SCVs too. In the meantime, by the way, Banshee trying to get as much work in, killing 6 drones, and I think that is quite okay. Yeah, this second wave, like I was a little bit surprised by that, mostly because it's usually not very good. That second wave definitely did not pay for itself. So, Data C, another one of the new maps. It's got this beautiful nuke for a siege tank. 14 confirmed kills right here by this hero. Okay. Oh, we have 3 Banshees. Okay. I thought for a second he sent it home and like repaired it back up, but that would be way too quick. ByuN apparently going in for, yeah, 3 Banshees right now, which is not very common at all. There is detection at this point here for the Terran, or for the Zerg player rather. Okay, he's going after the Queens. Getting one of them. Yeah, detection alone is not going to save you this time around. Okay. This game started off with a bang for so, but slowly but surely I'm liking this better and better right here for ByuN. Once again, by the way, where all the other top-level Zergs are going Hydra Ling Bane, so is going Forest Fire. Strange exchange over here. A landed Viking blocking the 6 o'clock base. Lift. A landed Viking blocking the 6 o'clock base. Little bit strange. Maybe that's the 6 o'clock base. This is more of like a 6:30. 7 o'clock. I think this is probably the 6 o'clock, right? So this is like a 5:30, a 6:30. Anyways, clocks. How do they work? I mentioned this some time ago, but someone on stream, I still don't know if this was a troll, but someone on stream asked me what I meant with the 6 o'clock base. Or with the 12 o'clock base, because I bring this up all the time, right? Apparently, they were not aware of the way that analog clocks work. Like, you know how, like, you have, like, a couple of those hands that, like, indicate the time? Apparently, there's a group of people out there that are unfamiliar with analog clocks that do not realize what I mean when I say 6 o'clock position. That made me feel so old, okay? Maybe I am a StarCraft senior after all. Maybe I'm just on some copium here trying to... See, I used the word copium, so I'm actually still hip with the kids, you know? Anyway, Muta's looking drippy. How did I do? I feel like I'm acting cool now. I'm the coolest kid in school. Anyways, let's see how this goes. ByuN, moving forward. Very aggressively, by the way. Not waiting for the creep to disappear. Bailing speed is gonna finish up in like 2 seconds after the battle ends. Oh, I hate this fight so much for the Zerg. Yeah, Bailing speed finished up right before that fight. For what it's worth, Darren was also finishing up 1-1. That fight was awkward. I'm not entirely sure what just went down there. Anyways, Benchy's still going to town inside of the main base. That one will not live for too much longer, I don't think. Well, it's going to be able to activate Cloak, but... well, maybe I can stay alive. Just buying some time. Slow Overseer over here. These guys are playing some interesting StarCraft. This Benchy over here is actually putting into work. In its final moments, it still ended up taking out 5 drones. Very respectable. Okay, combat shields at this point are done. Once again, Mr. ByuN has got an army. He's like, what do you mean? Zerg should have map control at this point in the game. Don't you know who I am? Good point, actually. Instantly into 2-2 as well. 4th command center already done. Flying on over that one towards the top section. Curious to see if so decides to go for a planetary hero or an orbital. I honestly think if you're as fast as ByuN, if ByuN decides... Did I say so? Anyways, I'm curious to see here if ByuN decides to go for a planetary or an orbital here. Mostly because I think ByuN is fast enough to go for a liftoff against those banelings. And recently we've seen a lot of command centers die to banelings. And when you're in a pretty economical position, you can also just not start up any... Okay, no, he does go for the planetary. Planetary is the go-to option that we've seen for years. But I sometimes wonder if going for an orbital is better. Because obviously you can't lift up a planetary, but you can lift up an orbital. And orbitals will give you more income. Obviously, it's worse against, like, you know, the circling run-bys and all the rest of that, but... Anyhow, retargeting right there by ByuN in the middle of that clump of siege tanks. That's something, by the way, that we don't highlight very often as StarCraft casters, but siege tanks are usually manually targeting the middle of baneling clumps. So it's not just microing the Marines and macroing at home and trying to make sure you don't die to run-bys and all that. It's also about targeting with siege tanks. So if you target the tanks properly, you can deal a lot of damage, and obviously there's very limited amounts of attention. This exchange over here, though, quite a bit better for the Zerg than some of the previous ones. ByuN apparently using the all-army hotkey to stim forward some more Marines towards the front. +2/+2, finishing up right now. Zerg has got about a minute or so, a minute and a half, until his double upgrades are finished. So, yeah, those Marines are going to be able to pack a punch. He's transitioning towards Drilling Claws with Widow Mines, of course, and then also the Thor. So, double factory production already. Very nice. Well, already. I mean, this is supposed to be up and running by now. All right. This will once again be a game of speed. A game of... yeah, momentum. This is one of the ways in which Zergs can get a couple kills here and there and slow down the Terran. Mutas obviously heal up very quickly out of combat. Don't fight off creep again, Su. Like, whenever you're about to be attacked as a Zerg, never fight off creep. It's one of the absolute no, don't do it! It's one of the basic rules of Zerg. At least, you know, if you know the rules, I guess at that point you can also choose if you wanna play by them. Maybe Su is just like a Zerg artist, okay? He knows what the Zerg brush strokes are supposed to be like, and he's like, no. I want to hold the pencil in my mouth. That's the way I draw, okay? It's called art. You should look it up, Lowko. But all these fights off creep, my Zerg heart, it kind of bleeds, okay? It's making it significantly easier here for ByuN to get some decent traits. Yeah, now he's like, wait a second, you're out of Banelinks? That's fantastic. We can start trading out Mutas against Marines. That's even better. Marauders coming in from the back too. Okay, good. Lift up. Get it out of there. Boost away. Ugh. Okay. ByuN punishing his opponent for, yeah, classic errors here. You spread the creep, not just, you know, to look pretty and to cover the map in your favorite color, but also to actually make use of it, believe it or not. Alright, excellent set of exchanges right here for ByuN. GG is called. We're going to game 3. And that one takes place on Inside and Out. Now that I mentioned that, have I even casted a game on this map yet? I think I have. Maybe. See, the thing is, I cast more games than usually make it up on the YouTube channel, so sometimes I end up casting games that, you know, quite frequently actually, I cast games that I don't upload to the channel because I didn't think the games were very good, or I thought my commentary kind of sucked, or whatever, right? Real quick, this map, I believe this is the one, actually. Hold up, I've got to just fact-check myself real quick. This map, during the Team Liquid map contest, if I'm not mistaken, yes, it had a different name. This map in the Team Liquid map contest was called Frost Giant. Now, Frost Giant, of course, is the company that's currently producing Stormgate. Stormgate will probably be the spiritual successor to StarCraft 2 and Warcraft 3. And apparently, yeah, I think Blizzard probably didn't like the idea of one of their maps in the game being called Frost Giant. I don't know if it's Blizzard that made that decision or if it's ESL or whatever, right? But they decided to rename this map to Inside and Out. There was also a Blizzard logo. This is like a little bit edgy too. This was also adjusted. There was a doodad right over here on this map that had like a Blizzard logo and like a bunch of things. And apparently that one also was adjusted to a burning building instead. Take that for what it's worth. Anyhow, we've got ourselves a pool first. Once again. So once more, going for a bunch of links. Are we gonna go for the Roach Warren? Because maybe my assessment is incorrect then. Maybe ByuN was correct in that previous game, not really respecting the Zerglings too much in the early game. As an indicator, at the very least, for a Roach push. Yeah, Su is not gonna go for Roaches this time around. So he's selling the story of an identical game, but that's not what's happening. ByuN, once again, by the way, doesn't care. No SCV scouts. Command center on the low ground, straight into double marine production. Factory as a follow-up too. No second gas very quickly too, so ByuN is just, yeah, playing his quintessential standard game of StarCraft. Yeah, a little bit of edginess on this map, huh? This map is pretty good, by the way. The one thing that bothers me more than I'm willing to admit is the fact that we're on an ice planet, but there's lava underneath. Now, I'm sure it might technically be possible, right? I mean, not on planet Earth, but I guess we're playing a science fiction game, but like see, Dara did it, right? Science fiction game. Anyways, yeah. It's technically possible, I'm sure. Just a little... You'd imagine the map melts as this game progresses. That would be something. Imagine entire sections of the map just melt away. At the 10-minute mark, you better be leaving your main base because it's just about to get swallowed up by the lava. Very adventurous group of Marines right over here. This is the A team. Maybe these guys will actually hit their bullets, though. That'd be... Oh, my God. More members. Amazing. This is Ocean 6 right now. Yeah, we're trying. Anyways. ByuN just opening up with the conventional 1-1-1. Nothing out of the ordinary. I'm expecting a tech lab here. Yep, there it is. So we can follow it up with whatever we like. Always important. Overlord will try and fly in, but it's not going to happen. Okay, so what exactly does so do? Normally what we see is Zergs going for a lair, into a Baneling Nest, into Baneling Speed, into 1-1 upgrades, and then into a Hydro Den, Lurker Den, Hive, the whole shebang, right? That's not what so does. Alternatively, you can go double upgrades first and then do a delayed lair and Baneling Speed, but usually the order of the first couple of structures is well set in stone. I mean, you can adjust, you can make changes, but yeah, you can make it a little more difficult for yourself as well, accidentally. So a lot of those pushes are cleaned up, a lot of those early game pushes anyways, with Baneling Speed. Zerglings thinking about moving out. There's the Baneling Nest. I'm expecting a lair here in a second. Anyways, medevac drop coming up. 4 Hellions inside of this plane. Really? Really, ByuN? Really? What are we doing? Yeah, no, now it's not gonna do anything, mate. I mean, it shouldn't anyways. I'm very confused by this exchange. It's almost like an anti-timing, right? Like, that is a very real thing in StarCraft. After these guys have been playing the game for a decade, there's certain moments at which you expect aggression. And if the aggression then shows up 20 seconds later, sometimes it can actually deal more damage because you respect your opponent enough to assume they will try and hit an optimal timing attack. Does that make any sense? Anyways, that kind of felt like one of those moves, but the thing is, the medevac drop with Hellions, especially when you don't go for the proxy starport, it's not that common. Anyhow. Good amount of workers skilled in total, but also at the cost of a bunch of Hellions, so I don't think the Zerg is really going to be too bothered. Zerg, once again, by the way, going into Aspire, going into the Baneling Speed, no 1-1 upgrades. Yeah, soO's decision-making is pretty different than what we see from the other top-level Zergs, and I'm inclined to say that it's better to play like the other top-level Zergs do. But you know what? I'm a bit of a so fanboy, so I'll believe it. Okay. Creep spread, by the way, looking phenomenal. He's been having some very good creep spread, actually, in this match. This entire series so far. Pew. 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 I'm helping, guys. Pew. Pew. Anyhow. Baneling Speed should be done in time for this. Maybe? It's about 20 seconds. I was thinking the rocks were going to buy enough time, but no, I think it should be alright. Yeah, it should be okay. Unless he jumps off creep again, which I wouldn't be surprised by at all. Look at ByuN as well. Trying to tempt his opponent right here. It's like, yes, come to me. Come to me, fight me. Okay, now if he's unsieging, that would be a moment to potentially jump on it. I don't think so has vision of that section of the map now. Yep, he decides to drop a couple of Overseers instead. Or a couple of Changelings. Alright, now is a good moment to go and roll in, I guess. But, I mean, you gotta be very careful. I think he's giving those Siege Tanks a few too many shots. A little bit of indecisiveness. That Siege Tank positioning from ByuN here is actually brilliant. I was gonna say, yeah, that patience there was good initially, but I think he may have been a little bit too patient there. I mean, I don't know what I want from Mr. Stu either. He was thinking about jumping on that a little sooner, but suddenly the Siege Tank's got a few more hits in. This Siege Tank spot over here, by the way? I know there's a big fight happening, but like, that Siege Tank spot over there is extremely hard to break up. Okay, and just like that, with the hatchery down, ByuN now finds himself with a 30 supply lead. Alright, so here's the problem. When you invest your resources into a pretty quick lair and a pretty quick spire and all that, and you can make like 3 mutas, you've just spent what is essentially like 1,000 minerals and 1,000 gas on 3 Mutalisks, right? Whereas if you compare to what most of the other high-level Zergs are doing right now, they will basically delay all of that for a little while longer and maybe opt to go for upgrades first, but they will end up with more Zerglings and Banelings, and it will just simply allow you to defend those pushes quite a bit easier. So ByuN, going for a very precise and very sharp timing here in game number 3, managed to take out his opponent just because soO didn't have enough stuff. Also, probably doesn't help the fact that soO, I think he may have missed a Queen Injector too, that soO has got nearly 2,000 resources in the bank.